So here's what I want you to think about. I'm going to introduce you to a new concept that you're going to see me talking about more and more, and that's called your 30-day cycle. This is for women that have a cycle, timing your fasts in your 30-day cycle. Dr. Mindy here, and on this video, we are going to dive into one of the most key concepts to fasting, specifically intermittent fasting. And this is, when should women intermittent fast? Are we supposed to intermittent fast all the time, or are there times that we should not intermittent fast? So if you are new to my channel, I just want to say welcome. I am here teaching you all things fasting, and I'm on a mission to get 1 million people inspired to live a fasting lifestyle this year in 2021. So if you're new, subscribe. And as always, you guys, if you love this video, share it out into the world. If there's one thing we learned in this time of a pandemic, that we are in this world of health together. When you get healthy, it affects me. When I get healthy, it affects you. So fasting is one of the quickest ways to turn the health switch on in your body. So welcome. Okay, I don't mean to leave the men out, but women, we need to have another conversation about intermittent fasting, because there is a different way that we need to approach fasting, and not enough people are talking about it. So on this video, I really want to lay down some of the fundamental principles around intermittent fasting so that you set yourself up for success. I also want to point out that we don't want to be left out of the fasting conversation. So when I hear people say, oh, women shouldn't fast or women shouldn't intermittent fast, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me, because I want all the incredible benefits of fasting. I don't want to be left out of this conversation. So on this video, I'm going to make sure you're very clear when you should do it and when you shouldn't do it. And this is really for women of all ages. So here we go. The first thing that I want to just sort of get a baseline of here is the idea of what is intermittent fasting. So when I say intermittent fasting, what I mean is 13 to 15 hours without food. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, well, what about my coffee? What about my tea? For most of us, drinking a cup of coffee in the morning, putting some MCT oil in it, a little cup of tea is not going to take us out of a fasted state. Anything that raises your blood sugar is pulling you out of a fast. So intermittent fasting is 13 to 15 hours with our blood sugar starting to go down, not go up. So we want to be, you are in a fasted state if your blood sugar is not going up. So 13 to 15 hours is intermittent fasting. Second question, before I dive into the variations that we need to look at for women, is a great question to ask yourself is, why would you need to intermittent fast? So there's so many cool pieces of tools that we can use to biohack this incredible intelligence inside our body, but there is no better tool than fasting. So we want to know how to do it right. And the research that we have, the biggest study that we have, was done on both men and women. It's a meta-analysis, so they've looked at all the studies on intermittent fasting. It came out on the New England Journal of Medicine, and it showed that after reviewing over 1,500 peer-reviewed studies, that intermittent fasting is really good for neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. It's great for diabetes and obesity. It's really good to lower inflammation down pre and post surgical times. We also know that it's really great for growth hormone and boosting growth hormone, so we slow the aging process down and we become better fat burners. So there is so much wisdom inside of our body that we can tap into when we learn to intermittent fast for 13 to 15 hours. Okay, so if you're not convinced yet why you should do it, let's talk about how women should do it. So here's what I want you to think about. I'm going to introduce you to a new concept that you're going to see me talking about more and more, and that's called your 30-day cycle. This is for women that have a cycle. We're timing your fasts in your 30-day cycle. So the first way you can look at intermittent fasting is making sure you are matching it to different times of your cycle. And I have created something called the fasting circle. It's not out yet, but you guys who keep coming back to my videos here on YouTube, I want you to know that this fasting circle is coming out. I've got a tool, a visual tool for you to be able to see in your monthly cycle when you should be fasting. So let me explain this fasting circle. This is for women who have a cycle. So from day 1 to day 10 of your cycle, your body needs you to be insulin sensitive. So all of the fasts, intermittent fasting, 24-hour fasts, 17-hour fasts, those are all fabulous fasts from day 1 to day 10. Now from day 11 to about day 15, you're ovulating. And when you ovulate, all 3 sex hormones are at their highest: estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. So in this ovulation period, from about day 11 to day 15, we all ovulate at different times, but that's a general rule. You're going to want to make sure that you never go over 15 hours of fasting. So, or the consequence is those hormones will start to tank. So that short little window right there, you can still intermittent fast. Those of you that are fasting experts, I don't want you going over 15 hours in that little window I just spoke of. Now, after day 15, from about day 16 to around day 19 of your cycle, and you may want to come back to this video and watch this again or write this down, but from day 15 to day 16, you can do all the fasting you want again. We can go into the longer fast. You can intermittent fast. You can do more fasting. You can do a 3-day water fast during that time. But once day 20 hits, for women who have a cycle, you need to make sure you are not fasting. So 13 hours would be right about the max I would tell you to do, but even with that, I am encouraging you to step out of fasting from day 20 until you bleed. Because what happens in that time period is your body needs to make progesterone. And it cannot make progesterone as long as it's making cortisol. The precursor for the hormone progesterone and the hormone cortisol is the same precursor. It's called DHEA. And if you are creating a hormetic stress, like what fasting is, your body will take that DHEA and make cortisol, and it will not make progesterone. So this is really important for those of you that started fasting and you started losing your cycle. Or those of you who are wanting to fast, I want to make sure you don't tank your progesterone, because we love progesterone. It makes us feel really, really good and calm, and it's a hormone you do not want to take for granted. So that's one way for women to approach it. Look at it from a monthly cycle. Now, those of you, women that are perimenopausal, don't have a cycle, had a hysterectomy, postmenopausal, don't know when your cycle's coming or going, I got you. You're the one that needs to think more about a weekly variation, because there's not a monthly cycle to think about for you. So let's think about a weekly variation. And I'm going to give you the basic weekly variation that I like for myself, I like for my patients, for my academy members. And it is a 5-1-1 variation. So 5 days a week, you can intermittent fast. Don't go more than 15 hours of fasting, especially if you're new and if you're going to do this variation, you don't have a cycle, so we don't want to push too many long fasts. But 15 hours max of fasting, 5 days a week. 1 day a week, you can push your fast. You can push it to 24 hours so that you get the rebooting of your intestinal stem cells in your gut. So 1 day a week, you could go to 24-hour fasts, and then 1 day a week, no fasting. So the way we look at this from a hormonal standpoint, 5 days a week, you're intermittent fasting and making yourself insulin sensitive so you can bring up your estrogen levels. 1 day a week, you're pushing your fast to 24-hour fast so that you can repair your gut, so that the bacteria in your gut that breaks estrogen down creates a healing effect there. And then 1 day you're working on progesterone by getting out of fasting and bringing that cortisol level down. So the answer to the question is, what is the right time for a woman to intermittent fast, is if you're cycling, follow the fasting circle, the way I laid it out. Can't wait till I have a visual for you guys. And then if you don't know when your cycle is, or you're perimenopausal or postmenopausal, Follow the 5-1-1 variation. Now, on the next video, I am going to show you how women over 40, there's some nuances. We can get even deeper into this variation for women over 40. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit the notification button so that you get the next video that I put out, because it's going to be specifically for those of you that are over 40 years old. Women over 40 need to fast differently as well. So we are complex humans. We have a lot of hormones coming and going. So we need to learn how to time our fasts according to our hormonal needs. And for those of you guys asking about the menopause reset and when it's coming out in print, you can pre-order it now. And in this, I talk about the 5 different lifestyle changes I personally made through my 40s to make my menopause journey blissful. Yes, there were moments where when I learned these 5 tricks that I could really turn my hormones just by using lifestyle alone. So if you want to know how to pre-order the menopause reset, just put menopause reset in the comments and my team will send you a link where you can pre-order that. And as always, we don't want to be left out. We want the benefits of fasting. We just got to do it different. So I hope that helps.